Okay, Charles and Doug. I'm calling to order the Grave Township Board of Supervisors special meeting agenda, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think I'm losing my voice. Oh my gosh, okay. We have Charles and Doug on phone for the meetings. They're both out of town. So we have our budget in front of us. And I'm sure you had an opportunity to look through this. Shall we start just at the beginning and work right through that? We'll start with the actual budget.
We're starting with January 1 till October 5th, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I'm wondering about the amount for the 2022 budget for real estate taxes, $182,000.
Well, that's what we budgeted last year. And it's hard to tell, with COVID and stuff, it's hard to tell what it's going to be.
What the actuals will be.
Yeah.
Well, I would guess it'll go up, but I'm not really sure how much. Well, I just wonder about it. It seems high, but maybe it won't be.
That's what we had since I've been here, 182.
Okay. All right.
Are you okay with that, Charles?
Yes.
Okay.
And then for earned income, we have 259, which seems a bit high to me because we're only at 207 now, and for the whole year, well, I guess 19 was the year that we were comparing to, but.
Yeah.
What page are we on?
Page 1.
Page 1 of 6 of the actual budget.
Yeah,
And
okay, that's fine.
line 7. Line 7.
I'm commenting that real estate taxes and earned income seem a bit high. We could go back and revisit those in the office and talk about them.
No, we can't.
What's that?
No, you can't.
No, we need to make the decisions here this evening if we can. I know
We have 2 more meetings, correct?
Yes.
Right, but you can't go back to the office and discuss that.
Well, you and I could.
Oh, you and I, yes.
Kathy and you could, or Charles and you could.
That's
Yes.
correct. That's correct.
And then maybe come forward to the next meeting with the same thing or a different idea. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out. I'm not.
So we're looking at the real estate taxes and the earned income appear to be high.
Yeah, it seems to me to be a bit high, but.
Charles, do you think you want to discuss that with Pam, or shall we?
Well, we're
Just
on
discuss it now.
You have to think about it. We're on our last quarter, so we
Right.
don't have our last payment in there yet.
And I know we're at 148 on the real estate taxes. And last year, the actual was 146, so we're above that already.
So that's what I'm saying. I would go with that.
With 182.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay? And the same, you think, for the earned income?
Yeah.
Look where we're at. We budgeted 259, of course, we're at 207. Do you think that is far too high? That's the amount we've been using.
Yeah. Well, we didn't make it last year.
Correct.
Well,
And
last
this
year was
might be a little better with more people working, maybe.
right.
Okay.
I would leave it where it's at.
Okay. Take a question mark there and revisit that at our last meeting. What do you think?
Okay.
We can do that. We'll leave them as they are. Is that what I'm
Right.
hearing? And then we will
Right.
further discuss that at the next meeting that we have.
We'll have a much better idea at that point.
Okay, that'll give us
Yeah.
another month, okay. We can do
The
that.
real estate transfer tax, are we anticipating the sale of a large piece of real estate or a number of properties?
That's hard to tell. I mean, you never know.
You don't know.
And again, that's the same figure that's been used for the last 2 years.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's
But
move
we're,
on.
okay,
Please do.
okay.
So, all right.
The next line item, of course, that we have here then would be the mobile home park permit. That's
Yeah, that's okay.
at 200. And then the figures under the revenues for fines and forfeits, that's unpredictable.
Absolutely.
So I
It's
don't,
it's unpredictable, yeah.
so I don't know that we need to change anything there.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay. Well, under interest, rents, and royalties, 350 seems to be working.
Right. I don't see any point in changing that at this point.
No. Moving down
Okay,
to the PERDA shared revenue, I think 450 is on target.
yes, yep,
200, the liquor license, I think that's a standard number?
Standard, yeah.
do
Okay.
we even need that anymore?
Well-
We don't have any liquor licenses
In the
that we
township,
charge for. What?
That we,
in the township.
Well, we have the Frosty Hook, but I mean, are we anticipating income from another liquor license?
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I don't know,
I mean, we've had nothing. There has been
Yeah,
nothing.
right, that's right. I would leave it there, I don't see any reason to remove it at this point.
It's
I
only,
don't know.
right, it's only $200, so
Yeah,
perhaps,
not to make or break anything.
right.
Okay,
And then the next line item is the fire insurance premium.
and that's just a pass-through.
That is a pass-through.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We still have to budget for it.
Yeah.
And then the Act 13 impact fee. I mean, it looks like we budget 1,200, we're at 611.60. Any reason to change that?
It was
I
low,
don't-
it was low this year because of COVID from last year.
And looking
so-
at last year, it was at 969, so I think that amount at 1,200 is probably pretty safe.
Yeah,
I
I
think
would
that's
keep it.
zero.
Par- Pardon me, Charles?
What is the impact fee exactly? What's that coming from?
That is Act 13, that is your, I believe it's your full. For some reason, I can't think of it. Hold on.
Pam is pulling that up.
Okay. And somewhere along the line, I would like to see where we start adding for the fountain, at least $200 a year. That would be in the old Greg School. Okay.
It's for the oil and gas.
Oh, Act 13 impact fees, oil and gas.
Oh, okay. Well,
I thought it was.
it goes down every year. And I don't know what's estimated to be this year, but it has been decreasing. So.
Well, it wasn't in 2019, but in 2020 and 2021, because of COVID, and with all the craziness going on, it has declined. Now, I would hate to drop it because, next year it could go back up.
No, it will never go back up. It goes down every year. That's the agreement.
Oh, okay.
I would like to see that agreement because I don't know
Okay.
about that.
All right, we gotta look at that.
Well, we'll look at that one as well.
Yeah, Yeah, let's move on. Go ahead.
Okay. Next, we have the forced in lieu of taxes. We've had that at 6,200. Haven't had anything yet this year.
Yeah, but we should get that, for sure. I
Okay.
think.
Okay,
That's pretty safe, yeah.
that's a safe, all right. The workers' comp, that is at 1,000, and I think that, that hasn't, there's no charge on the records right now, Pam. Is that something that will be coming in?
Probably.
Okay. So,
I think we could put a question mark on that and check that down the road, but I think I'd leave it be for now.
okay. All right. We'll just leave it there then. And the sewer and water, that is 1,500 each. And
That's
from,
not changing. That's,
No.
no,
pardon me?
That's not changing.
that won't change,
Correct, correct.
yeah.
Okay, then we'll move on to the charges for services. We have the zoning hearing board permit, variance code, conditional use, and these are all zonings.
Yeah.
That's at 150, and the right to know fees and copies is at 40. As you can see, we haven't had any charges for either. But I think it's
But
best,
you don't know.
We
That
don't,
comes
we
out
need to keep that.
it's best to keep it on the budget.
Yeah.
Right. And I think then we move on to page 2. The preparation payments, these are Laren's line items.
Yeah, we don't keep any of that, right? It's all passes through to Laren.
Yeah,
As far as I know.
yeah, that's all a pass through.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Then we move down logging permits.
Okay.
I would keep that the same right now until we find out what they're gonna do with
Yeah.
code.
Yeah,
Okay.
code's not doing logging permits though. I'm sure they won't. But I think we need to revisit the logging permit matter. But for now, I
Yes.
think we just keep that on at 200.
Yeah.
Next, we have the recyclable materials. So that's, I understand that they do some scrapping.
Yeah, so we keep it at 225 because sometimes it's high and sometimes it's low, just depending upon. what's
I would
going on.
say leave it alone the way it looks.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Agreed. Then we are on to the miscellaneous revenue. There's nothing
What's-
there. Pardon me?
Okay.
Okay.
We go down to the supervisors.
We can go down to the general government supervisors. We have the supervisors' salaries. That's at 4,500. That's not going to change that I'm aware of.
All right.
Not unless you guys read the,
And the,
base pay.
and the donations, that's the fire company. That's been at $1,000. Any change?
Donation, to the fire company, okay.
Professional services. Some of that is the business that did the Tool Shed Lane property cleanup.
Right.
And we have that at 500. I don't think we need to change that myself,
No,
unless
I
you
don't
also.
either.
Okay.
And then there is a mileage for the elected officials. We had it at 500. It's now, we're going to budget it at 350. That looks
Should be
adequate.
okay. Yeah.
Yes.
And the bank service fees, I guess we're not budgeting anything there, that's just what we get back from the bank. Dues and memberships are the PSATs at 1,300. Right now, we're at 1143, so that's adequate.
Okay.
The newsletter,
Haven't done it,
haven't done it, right?
Sorry, Doug.
But we'll
leave
leave,
it there. I would
yes.
leave it there.
and then the new, the website, we have it at 5,000. I know that there is a little more expense in the current calendar year due to the changing over to Center Publications, and we will definitely see a decrease in that for next year.
Yeah.
So I think
That was all on as well.
okay. And the town messaging,
Personally, if you guys don't mind, since we've moved over to the new website, they are working with us to push out to people to sign up for emails. They're actually working on that system. So now, and also the fire company has something going on too with calls.
It's called I Am Responding,
Right. So
of which Brandon is a part of that as well.
if we can save $1,850, I would really like to revisit that and let me get some more information on that.
Okay?
Well, yeah, when do we have to pay it?
Not for a little bit yet, so we're okay.
All right, so that's a question mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
And meetings and conferences? That's it.
Well, that's low because, all these meetings and stuff
Have been
canceled.
done by Zoom.
Right.
We've done them virtually.
I think I would set tight on that as well for right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the accounting and auditing services, we use Baker Tilly. That's pretty standard at $4,500.
Yeah.
And then we move down to the tax collection. That is Donna Miller, and she receives, if I understand correctly, 5%.
Mhm.
And so this, looking at the figures, 9,000 is right in line.
Mhm.
Right. Seems like it is, yeah.
Okay. Then on page 3 of 6, we're looking at, this is still under the tax collector, reimbursement for supplies at $350. That appears to be in line. Mileage reimbursement, she hasn't used anything in the last 2020 or anything yet this year, but I think we need to keep something in there, that $50.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, I would.
Printing tax statements, we have that at $300. Currently, she used $340, but that, I think $300 is okay.
Okay.
Then we can look at meetings and conferences. For her, that's at $100. She's used half of that. I still think perhaps we should keep that at the $100. We don't know what the new year's going to bring now that people are starting to have more open conferences.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Then we move down to the solicitor and the legal fees. We have that at $13,000. You can see it has dropped some from 2020. Perhaps we should still keep that at $13,000.
considerably.
Yes.
Let's keep it there.
I would.
I think we need that cushion, right?
You never know.
All right.
Okay, then we'll move down to secretary treasurer. The current salary, as you see it there, is incorrect. The correct amount I'll read is $45,760.
Okay.
If you recall, that changed mid-year, right before
Yes.
the last budget, so that figure is
Right.
okay. And office supplies at $500, I think that's more than adequate.
Yeah.
Same with computer supplies at $1,300.
Mhm.
Postage, $500. It's been low, however, we don't know what future will be here.
It's about to be increased again.
Yes. And the internet services,
Let me explain why that's high. Atlantic broadband. So we will be reimbursed for that. Because when they come in, that's when Denny and his partner had to come in and run the cable.
Okay. Okay.
Denny McCloskey, yes, right, okay. So that we will get reimbursed.
So who will reimburse us for that?
Well, that will come out of the Old Brick School.
Okay.
I've accounted for it, Doug.
Okay.
Okay, then we will, telephone and internet, $750.
Can we lower that?
It looks, well, Well, so far, we've only spent $138.50. We have one more quarter.
But we're not paying internet now.
Okay, then I think perhaps we should change that. I think we need to lower that.
Can we lower it to, I'm gonna say 400,
We're currently at,
just to have a cushion on it?
Pam is suggesting that perhaps we look at the amount of $400 for the telephone and internet.
Okay,
Is that acceptable to the two of you?
sure.
Charles?
I would say give it a try.
So we'll change that to 400, okay. Mileage reimbursement, $350, I think that's adequate.
Okay,
Advertising and printing, we have that at 2,000. That looks in line with where we are spending, we have one more quarter, but we spent 1541, 52.
yep, agreed.
And then the bonding and insurance is 1,100, and Pam said, now that is the amount that we pay 2 years, every other year.
Okay,
And then again, the seminars, conferences and training at 1,000,
I'd leave it as it is.
okay,
Yes.
okay. That moves us down to the township engineer. We have that at $1,000 right now. We've spent 1987. Mr. Franson did the work over on the Bittner Hollow Road,
Right.
which upped that price this particular year, but we won't know if we'll need those services next year. Do you think it
Right.
needs to be increased or leave it at 1,000? What are your thoughts
Well,
on that?
Well, if we apply for grant money from the county that Brandon was talking about,
Yes,
of course, that's just for signage. That's all he asked for, isn't it?
that's
Right.
correct.
Right.
Yeah, so Don Francis doesn't have to do any work for that.
No.
But if
No.
there was a bridge repair coming up or something, we need it for that, so.
But that would
I'm
be
leaving
budget,
1,000.
yeah, because that would be budgeted in with, if we get a grant, that would go in with that grant,
Right.
okay?
Okay. Well,
Let's see where it goes.
Okay. Then we move down to the building maintenance and repair for the shop and shed repair and supplies, $2,900. That
that's
seems
okay.
to be what we've been using. And on to page 4, propane and gas purchase. It's at 2,400, we've spent 2,475 to this point in the calendar year.
You might want to raise it a little bit because the
Propane's
price
gonna
of
go up.
propane seems to be going up a little bit.
Any suggestions on upping it from 2,400 to what are you thinking
So
about?
try 2,500 this year and see how that works.
What do you think, Charles?
I don't know, I don't think that's gonna cut it, but we can try.
You think it should be
I'm
more?
gonna say like 3,000.
I'm thinking it should be more like 3,000.
Yeah.
I think that might be best. I mean, $100 is not gonna make much of a difference.
Now, let's revisit that in our next meeting.
Okay,
I mean, that should be pretty simple, we don't have that many things to revisit, so it shouldn't be that difficult.
no,
So you want to revisit that, Charles?
I think we should, though.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Mhm.
The fire extinguishers, we have that at 300, that seems adequate.
Yep.
And the same with the above-ground storage tank. I don't know,
That 2,000,
Why
2,000,
is that so high?
because we had to pay for them to come and inspect. Remember at the beginning of this?
when it was made underground?
Right.
So, we don't have it underground.
It's now above
No,
ground.
it's now above ground, but I couldn't take it out in the middle of the
Budget period.
So,
So you don't, so when, how often do they inspect?
well, that was because of the underground one.
I know, but they still have to inspect the above ground ones too, don't they? It'd just take less time.
That, I'm not sure, Doug, but I know it's not, that's why we lowered it to $250, because it wasn't gonna be as costly.
Yeah, I definitely think it would be cost less, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it, and see what happens.
Okay. Professional services, that is
Leave that,
at
leave it where it
500,
is.
okay?
Yeah,
I think the electricity, 1,600, standard sewer to shed, 750, water service, 650, garbage collection, 600,
okay.
and then cost of space at the Oak Ridge School, we're at
So
7.
what's that for?
That's our office space.
Right.
Okay, all right.
So I think
Yeah.
7,800, that should stay the same, right? I mean, that is my thought.
7680.
Oh, 7,680, right.
7680, yeah.
Are you okay with that, Charles?
Yeah.
Okay, good. They moved down to public safety.
PA1 call. And the only
Public
reason,
safety,
it's the,
public safety,
it's the PA1 calls.
that's what that is?
Yes.
Public safety other?
Yes. The only reason it's up higher this time is because we had all, remember we sat through that telephone conference?
Right.
And here it was all the PA1 calls for the Atlantic broadband, so we had to pay our portion for that.
Okay.
So that was just basically a one-time cost, okay.
Yeah.
What was his charge for that man?
What do you mean, for the PA1 call?
Yeah.
Well, for all of them, I mean, we had a couple hundred PA1 calls for that. A lot.
Right.
And that was $224.71.
It should only be $100 charge per year. I would question that.
I did, and it's because there was so many. We had hundreds, and it's not just $100 a year.
Were there other PA1 calls you had as well?
Yeah.
I mean, didn't you do some for the electricity poles? They
For
were,
Verizon, there was multiple.
Yeah, but anytime I've ever been involved, it's always been, unless they upped it, it's only ever been a one-time charge per year of $100.
No, Charles, it's more than that now. I got to do it for stump grinding, and I think it's 200 and some bucks I had to pay.
Okay, I wasn't aware they upped it.
For a contractor, it is. But for the homeowner, they get it for free, you know.
I understand that, but I didn't realize they raised it for contractors. Last I paid, beginning of the year was $100. That's the reason I questioned it.
I wish that so was.
Yeah, really.
do you want Pam to check into that, Charles?
I would, it's worth
Okay.
a phone call.
Yeah,
Okay,
do it.
we'll have Pam can make that call.
Because I didn't do it at the beginning of the year, Charles. I think it was last year, so.
Okay.
Okay, we'll get,
Okay, well,
We'll
it might
get-
be the first time somebody made a mistake
we'll
on
get,
their end.
and we'll get clarification then, that will be good.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, fire company, the volunteer workers' comp, well, it is what it is, 11,500.
We should be fine.
And then we have the fireman's relief, which is a pass-through,
Yep, that's a wash.
right, so that's at 15,000. The
Right.
liability insurance for the fire company at 12,000, that seems to be in
Pretty much
line.
right there.
Raffle tickets, this is for the carnival,
Correct.
that's at 800.
Can we lower that to 5?
We only spent $262. Do you think we could,
Yes.
we could lower that?
I would
Sure.
think so.
What do you think, 500?
I would try that.
Okay, what about you, Doug?
Yep.
Okay. Then fire company contributions, other.
Tickets.
Can you help me with that one, Pam? Fire company contributions, other.
Well,
There's
because
nothing in here.
last year we gave them $5,000 out of the kindness of our hearts.
Because they did not have the carnival, or, okay, do you think, what do you,
I would let it there because something may come up and,
are you, Are you okay with that, Charles?
Yeah, for the simple reason, I mean, they just keep beating on them for whatever, more and more as far as cost.
Okay, I agree. Okay. Then we'll move down to the Penns Valley EMS. That's at 13,000.
Okay, now this is, we're talking about the money we collect from the local services tax.
No, that's something different.
No,
Okay, that's totally separate.
Yeah,
This is, explain that one, Pam.
that is, we pay workers,
Contributions, I guess, huh?
yes.
I don't know what the, 13,000 was in 2020.
That's what we gave them,
As a contribution?
yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay. What do you gentlemen, want to keep it at 13,000?
I would say yes at this point.
Okay. Doug?
Well, I'm a little confused about this one.
You want me to pull reports for you, Doug, and bring it to the next
Well,
one?
all I want to know is the local services tax comes in, does that come in, is that recorded in our income or is it?
That comes in. I'm not even looking at the right one.
Services.
Yeah,
Right
it
there.
comes into our income
So, and
and
then
then
it goes right back out, yes.
This is where it goes back out. We're looking at the 13,000.
So is that just your pass-through?
Yeah, local services tax comes in and goes
It's
right back out.
Okay.
Yeah, last year was 13,550.73 is what the actual was. I don't know what it would be this year. It could be that. Certainly could be that. Well, how about 13.5?
I would say keep it where it's at.
Well, the idea was we give all local services tax to them, right?
We do,
We do that.
we do.
Okay.
So this year, I would guess you give them more, 13.5 at least. 2022, I mean, I think you'd probably be giving them 13.5 at least.
What are your thoughts, Charles?
I think I'd leave it alone.
Leave it at 13?
I believe I would.
I don't
Well, I can see in 2020, we got 13.551. And this year, we're at 10.635, so,
And we're already up here,
well, we have a quarter of the year to go yet, so.
yeah.
Oh, I see.
uh,
Local services.
So that's another 3,000 will probably come in, and it certainly would take it up to 13.5. That's pretty stable.
Well, that means we should raise that local services tax income then. Instead of 12,000, raise it up
We
to.
should, yeah, we should raise it, yeah.
If you're thinking of raising it here, you have to
Okay.
raise it here as
Yeah.
well.
I would make it 13.5 up at the income level, because we're giving it all to them.
So you're looking at local services tax.
Mhm.
The income at 13.5 and the
13.
outgo 13.5, yeah.
Charles, what are your thoughts?
Well, that's fine if that's what he wants to do, but I don't really see a point at this point in time, but that's fine.
Well, it makes the budget more correct.
Right.
That's my point.
Right, okay. Yeah, if we do it here, we have to do it the other, okay. Okay, then we'll change that to 13.5.
Okay,
Okay, moving down to the SEO services, test services for small flows, nothing there.
Okay.
SEO pay, we have that at 7,000, that looks in line with where we are.
yeah,
Any changes that you see there?
Nope.
I think it's okay.
Planning and zoning, we're looking at the legal services.
Budget district.
Can you guys hang on? I've got to make a phone call quick. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Okay, PVCEA, they haven't asked us for any money for a while, and they've got a pretty solid balance sheet
Is
now.
it?
I don't think we'll be giving them any money.
okay, and that's listed at 0, so.
Then-
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me change this.
Pam, Pam has to change the battery on the camera, so we'll take a break here for a moment.
Okay.